There are no heroes. Each year, the African continent bears witness to one of the planet's greatest pilgrimages. The Great Migration. An immense assembly of over 1 million blue wildebeest, some 300,000 zebra, and 400,000 gazelle. The zebra and the wildebeest are not kin, but they share a sacred commitment to existence, to see the sun for one more day. The wildebeest possesses exceptionally keen senses of hearing and smell. In particular, it can perceive ground vibrations from distant water sources or from the footfalls of other creatures. However, its short, sturdy neck limits its field of vision. This is where the zebra fulfills its purpose. Weighing up to 850 pounds and with a visual range of nearly 360 degrees, zebras are the great guardians of this journey. This union creates a remarkable network of defense. Yet, that does not imply a life of peaceful coexistence. It is merely part of a harsh cycle of self-preservation within a larger collective. Under the pressures of the migration, the weak or the very young are easily left behind, becoming targets for predators. But the migration faces more than just terrestrial trials. Their journey must intersect with an ancient force, where the line between life and death is as fragile as the water's surface. When the boundary between land and river dissolves, all displays of power lose their meaning. There, by the seemingly tranquil riverbanks, a master of patience awaits. For 200 million years, it has lurked beneath the muddy waters of the Mara River. This is the Nile crocodile, the most formidable, defiant, and perfect reptile that creation has ever conceived. A sheltered hunting machine weighing up to 2,200 pounds and measuring up to 20 feet in length. The secret to its hunting success lies in its subtlety. With skin that blends perfectly into the riverbed, the Nile crocodile resembles an ancient, gently floating log. Leaving the deadly river behind, the savannah greets the survivors with yet another challenge. On this land, there are creatures whose power comes not from concealment, but from an unstoppable collective force. The African buffalo. Weighing up to 2,000 pounds, they are living tanks, protected by thick hide and a solid shield of bone upon their brows. Within Africa's legendary Big Five, the buffalo can sometimes command more reverence than the lion. Confrontations between two adult bulls are a ritual of physical prowess, a dance of primal violence. With speeds reaching 30 miles per hour, the force of impact is immense. Nearly a ton of solid muscle is concentrated at the point of collision, right between the eyes. There, the bases of the two horns fuse into a dense bony shield, forming a natural coat of armor. This structure is hard enough to absorb and disperse tremendous impacts, and it only fully matures when a bull reaches about 8 or 9 years of age. In Zulu culture, the buffalo is a symbol of indomitable will. Its nature of facing danger without retreat inspired the military tactics of King Shaka Zulu. Elite units were likened to the unstoppable force of this animal. That warrior spirit is also embodied in the powerful Indlamu war dance. The Zulu also crafted buffalo horns into ornaments and weapons, believing the animal's strength would be transferred to the bearer. When gathered in large herds, African buffalo become a mobile fortress, an almost perfect defense. Few predators on the savannah, not even lions, are willing to challenge a full herd of adult buffalo. The majesty of this black giant is often accompanied by an explosive energy waiting to be unleashed. With just a subtle signal that composure can transform into a destructive offensive force. However, everything changes when an individual is separated from the protection of the herd. An adult buffalo can weigh about 5 times as much as a lioness, and in theory, a single head-on charge would be enough to end the confrontation. But the lion pride knows this, so they rely on tactics instead of brute force. The lion is a rare social predator among felines, and most hunts are coordinated by the females of the pride. The pride silently surrounds its quarry, isolating the buffalo from its herd and latching onto its thick hide, turning the hunt into a battle of endurance. With powerful jaws and curved claws, they attempt to restrain the struggling giant. But African buffalo are renowned for their solidarity. When one individual is in danger, the entire herd may turn back to mount a rescue. Faced with the pressure of converging masses of black muscle, the queens of the hunt are forced to retreat. But there is still one young male lion who has not given up. To become a king of the plains, a male lion must prove his strength and his courage. These encounters with Cape buffalo are the most grueling of tests. It is these perilous battles that will forge the future rulers of the savannah. Even when the buffalo herds have defeated their challengers, the savannah holds a greater power still. A creature that reigns almost absolutely at the apex of the hierarchy of strength. It needs no support from a herd to assert its status. Its presence alone is enough to make the ground tremble. The African elephant. The African elephant is a masterpiece of biology, weighing up to 13,200 pounds and standing nearly 13 feet tall as an adult. Once fully grown, they have almost no natural enemies. Before such a giant, even the lion, the savannah's most feared predator, must keep its distance. The elephant's security comes not from speed or aggression, but from its immense size and overwhelming power. A single footstep can exert a pressure equivalent to a heavy armored vehicle rolling across the earth. But the elephant's strength is not just in its size. Its trunk is one of the most complex biological tools in the animal world. With over 40,000 individual muscle bundles, the trunk can uproot trees, lift heavy objects, or become a formidable weapon when necessary. The authority of the African elephant stems from tons of power combined with an intelligence rarely seen in the natural world. For many years, it was told that African elephants could become intoxicated from eating fermented marula fruit. However, studies have shown this is almost impossible in the wild. For an elephant to reach a state of inebriation, it would have to consume an enormous quantity of fermented fruit, and its digestive system processes food very quickly. Thus, the story of the drunken marula elephant is now considered more of a popular anecdote than a truly documented behavior in nature. The African elephant is a creature of powerful emotions. They can experience joy, attachment, and even sorrow. But when a multi-ton being loses its composure, the consequences for its surroundings can be unpredictable. Besides the elephant, another giant walks the African savanna with almost no fear. The rhinoceros. Its eyesight is poor, nearly useless at a distance, but that deficit is compensated by astonishing power. An adult rhinoceros can weigh up to 3,000 pounds. Its massive body is encased in armor-like hide, and on its snout is a sharp horn that can become a dangerous weapon. The rhinoceros is often solitary and exists in a state of high alert. Unable to see clearly from afar, it relies more on its senses of smell and hearing. A strange scent or an unusual sound is enough to provoke an immediate reaction from this giant. When uncertain of the threat before it, the rhinoceros's instinct is simple: charge directly at it. During the breeding season, tensions escalate. Adult males will often drive away a female's calf to encourage her to return to her reproductive cycle sooner. When two adult rhinos dispute territory, the confrontation can last for hours. Their horns, made of keratin, the same material as human fingernails, become deadly weapons. In fact, battles between adult males account for nearly half of all natural mortalities for this species. However, the greatest threat to the rhinoceros comes not from its own kind, but from humans. Poaching for their horns, so-called white gold, despite having no real medicinal value, has pushed this species to the brink of extinction. Today, local communities and rangers patrol day and night, even dehorning the animals to protect the last hope of survival for these giants of the savannah. Not all giants rely on armor or muscular strength for confrontation. Some rise above in a completely different manner. The giraffe, with the body of a horse and a neck up to 6.5 feet long, is a testament to this. This creature possesses a 24-pound heart, which generates a blood pressure double that of a human. Yet, its neck contains precisely 7 cervical vertebrae, the same number found in people. Each vertebra is over 10 inches long. Beyond aiding in feeding, these necks can become high-impact instruments in a ritualized contest known as necking during the mating season. The small protrusions on their heads, called ossicones, are actually hard, skin-covered bone structures. When a physical confrontation occurs, the resulting sound can be heard from hundreds of feet away. It is a motion with enough force to break ribs, damage internal organs, or even knock an opponent unconscious instantly. This confrontation is like a slow yet decisive dance with destiny. An outmatched African giraffe can suffer a broken neck and fall to the ground like a collapsing tower. However, the neck is not its only form of defense. The lions of the Etosha region, in their search for food, understand this better than anyone. And creation always finds a way to exhibit admirable contrasts. Along the tranquil rivers of Africa exists one of nature's greatest illusions. The hippopotamus's yawn. This act of opening its jaws to 150 degrees is no sign of rest or laziness. This is the most aggressive mammal on the planet. The lower canine teeth of a hippopotamus can grow up to 24 inches long. Thanks to a self-sharpening mechanism with every movement, they remain as keen as blades. These impressive teeth serve only one purpose: to confront enemies. Only the strongest individuals are permitted to rule this sacred marshland. The hippo's loyalty to its territory is as fierce as an absolute creed. The one about to cross its path is a waterbuck, an antelope with a water-repellent coat that always lives near water sources. For the waterbuck, the water is a safe refuge from terrestrial predators. But the resident hippo does not share that view. The consequence of defying the rules of the marsh is to have one's life ended by the planet's most aggressive landlord. In this land, still waters are never a sign of absolute peace. When the great warriors have ended their journeys, the keepers of nature's harmony draw near. At the moment when life transforms to provide sustenance, there is always one who does not understand the meaning of waiting its turn. But when great wings descend from the sky, the rules of nature change instantly. The lappet-faced vulture is the great guardian of the savannah's provisions. With a wingspan of nearly 10 feet, it is the largest and most powerful of Africa's cleanup crew. This giant possesses a natural gift that no other species has. Its beak is incredibly strong, deep, and sharp. It is the tool that creation bestowed upon the pathfinders. Only they have the strength to tear through the toughest hides of the African elephant, the Cape buffalo, or the rhinoceros. Thus, they often take pride of place, enjoying the main portion of the meal and leaving the rest for their counterparts. The smaller species depend on its strength, while it relies on the presence of the smaller ones to locate food more quickly. It is a collaboration born from the necessities of life. When this bird becomes more animated or prepares for a contest over food, blood rushes to the skin on its face. This color change helps the bird regulate its body temperature during times of exertion, while also sending a clear, natural signal to any who might think of standing in its way. Without a single sudden movement, the vibrant color of its resolve has done 90% of the work in establishing respect. After the confrontations of tusk and horn play out under the open sun, the African continent still conceals other giants. They live in more secluded places, higher and more humid. There, the stage of existence might be cloud-covered peaks, swift-flowing rivers where razor-sharp teeth await, or beneath the dense forest canopy. In those places, the giants possess unique survival strategies and natural tools perfected through fierce confrontations. Over 9,800 feet above sea level, the Virunga mountain range lies between Rwanda, Uganda, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. In this kingdom of mist, with its thin, cold air, there lives a king with no throne, but with silver shoulders that can carry his entire lineage. The mountain gorilla shares about 98% of its DNA with humans. Its digestive system is a colossal cellulose processing machine, turning simple leaves into rippling masses of muscle. Their social structure revolves around an absolute hierarchy. A silverback is the father, the leader, and the sole protector of his family. A wise silverback will observe the frequency of these sounds and decide whether it is worth expending the energy for a physical confrontation. But when the language of sound is not enough, physical power will speak. The gorilla uses its full weight for positioning and employs its jaws, with a bite stronger than a lion's or a tiger's, to leave a deep impression of its presence. Their most formidable tools are canine teeth up to 2 inches long. A powerful bite to the shoulder or neck could end the life of any rival in a moment. The mountain gorilla is an admirable example of the balance between immense power and gentleness. They are gentle giants until the boundaries of mutual respect are crossed. But far from the cool mountain peaks, in the lower regions, there is a creature with an appearance as brilliant as a work of art, but with a fierce disposition. A primate that even a leopard must think twice before approaching. The mandrill is a creature that defies the usual standards of evolutionary history. It possesses a brilliantly colored appearance, yet it is also the largest primate of its kind in the world, with one of the most volatile temperaments in nature. The more vivid a male mandrill's reds and blues, the more intense a life force it displays. In other words, its face is a tangible testament to the strength and vitality that life has bestowed. An adult male mandrill can weigh 77 pounds or more, but its true power lies in its large troops, true legions on the move. They can gather in enormous groups of up to 600 or even 1,000 individuals. No snake, small rodent, or other primate group is brave enough to stand in their way. This is the procession of a very well-organized group under the leadership of the king with the most brilliant face. The savannah quietly recedes as darkness descends. The giants withdraw into the night, leaving behind the mark of an indomitable will to survive, etched in scars and fierce confrontations. It is not merely instinct, but a lesson in the balance between ultimate power and the tolerance of creation. Though not as agile or swift as the smaller animals previously mentioned, the strength of the black rhino As one of the big five, the black rhino is remarkably well adapted to the semi-arid environment. The rhino has poor eyesight, but an extremely keen sense of smell. It is very cautious and difficult to approach. The total population of black rhinos in South Africa at the end of 2023 was approximately 2,065 individuals. Despite its large size and imposing appearance, the black rhino is a particularly sensitive species. Each individual possesses its own territory, lives a solitary life, and rarely interacts with others. Most fascinating is the black rhino's symbiotic relationship with the red-billed oxpecker. This bird often perches on the rhino's back or neck, picking off ticks and parasites. Crucially, the oxpecker also functions as a living alarm system. Although the bird may sometimes peck at wounds to feed on blood, the benefit of the warning. The black rhino is a browser, specializing in the leaves, twigs, and shoots of bushes. When food is scarce, it can digest plants with moderate levels of toxicity. Remarkably, they can survive for more than 5 days without drinking, drawing moisture. The black rhino has a body structure suited for a solitary life. To conserve energy, it usually moves slowly and is active at dawn and dusk. The black rhino's hearing is also highly developed, allowing it to perceive sounds from a great distance. However, due to its extreme caution, encounters with this species in the wild are often limited. Rhinos reproduce slowly, with a gestation period of up to 15 months, giving birth to only one calf at a time. The young calf stays with its mother for 2 to 3 years. Studies in 2025 highlighted that the average annual growth rate is only 4.2%. This species has endured a history of survival marked by dramatic changes. The subsequent recovery has been slow, thanks to strict conservation measures and control of poaching. Due to the severe decline in the last century, reserves in South Africa are implementing strategies. Measures include armed patrols, GPS monitoring of individuals, and dehorning. If the black rhino represents silent resistance in a harsh land, the ostrich presents the opposite image. The ostrich is the largest bird in the world. Although flightless, it runs with great speed. An ostrich can stand up to 8 feet tall and weigh around 220 pounds. It runs at a constant speed of about 37 miles per hour and can maintain this pace. Ostriches live in small groups of 5 to 50 individuals, especially during the breeding season. This behavior provides them with a wide field of vision and vigilance against predators. Its diet consists mainly of vegetation, leaves, grasses, plants, and sometimes fruit. Its body temperature is regulated through special mechanisms. A study in 2024 estimated the ostrich density in the region to be about 2 to 4 birds. Long-term studies also show that flocks move in groups to optimize access to food. During the breeding season, males may lead a harem of 2 to 7 females. Male-female pairs cooperate in incubating eggs in a single communal nest to maximize survival. Amid the vast grasslands of Kruger, where the Oliphant's River winds through tall grass, the Niala appears. They do not join the hustle of savannah life, but choose to live on the fringes. The male Niala is unmistakable. Its bluish-gray coat, with white vertical stripes along its flanks, looks like a living sculpture. In contrast, the female is a light reddish-brown with fewer markings, allowing her to blend in easily. Niala live in small groups, sometimes only a few individuals, moving in silence. Their diet is not based on grass like many other antelopes, but on leaves and fallen fruit. It is this selective browsing that gives them a special role in regulating the vegetation. Despite their delicate appearance, Niala are extremely cautious. If they feel threatened, they emit a sudden sound similar to a dog's bark. This dispersal strategy makes it difficult for large predators to successfully approach. If the Niala is a gentle shadow gliding through the riverside thickets to hide, the African wild dog represents the opposite. This is a native wild dog, known for its mottled coat and highly effective pack hunting strategy. It is critically endangered, with only a few packs remaining in Kruger and some other reserves. A study in 2022 showed that this population maintains a low level of natural inbreeding. Individuals live in packs of 10 to 30 members with a complex structure. Although their gene pool lacks great diversity, it is sufficient to maintain the viability of the packs. Their hunting tactic is an art of synchronization. The wild dogs detect and encircle their prey in the early hours of the day or at dusk. A study in 2024 showed their diet consists mainly of small and medium-sized antelopes. According to the Fauna and Flora portal, wild dogs quickly exhaust their prey. In Kruger, the African wild dog population is estimated to be stable at 300 to 400 individuals. Data from BioQuest Africa in 2024 confirms that nearly 300 individuals live freely within Kruger. This is South Africa's largest population and is considered the last stronghold of the species. Their journey of survival is fraught with challenges. A 2024 study confirmed that the Kruger population has low genetic diversity. However, this could affect their resilience to environmental changes. Additionally, pressure from large predators like lions or leopards affects their density and distribution. If the African wild dog symbolizes sophisticated pack hunting, the lion represents absolute power. An icon of African wildlife, the lion lives in prides and occupies the dominant role in the food chain. The task of hunting always falls to the lionesses. They hunt in groups from dawn to dusk. They are smaller, faster, and better coordinated in collective pursuits. The stability of relationships between males is a key factor in survival. When young males mature, around 2 to 3 years of age, they are driven out of the pride to find a new coalition. If they succeed in joining a coalition or conquering a territory, they will eliminate the cubs of the previous litter to bring the lionesses back into estrus. Data from tracking collars in 2024 showed a pride travels an average of 5 miles each day. Their hunting success rate is between 30 and 40%, lower than that of African wild dogs. Cooperative hunting and the strength of unity are key to enabling them to take on targets. Lions also know how to use the terrain of the Kruger grasslands. The sounds used to mark territorial limits can travel up to 5 miles. Lion reproduction follows a demanding cycle. Lionesses have a gestation period of about 110 days and give birth to 2 to 4 cubs per litter. Although only about 40% survive the first year due to pressure from predators, based on studies from 2020 to 2025, Kruger currently has between 1,500 and 2,000 lions. The daily activities of lions in Kruger are varied. In the morning, they often gather in wooded areas to rest and digest. At the same time, epidemiological monitoring for diseases like bovine tuberculosis allows sandparks to implement biological measures. One of the reasons for the lion's mere 40% hunting success rate is intense competition. The spotted hyena is a carnivore with an incredibly powerful jaw, capable of crushing bones. Their society is matriarchal. Females are larger and occupy the highest ranks in the clan. They live in clans that can range from 20 to 80 individuals, and in especially favorable conditions, this number can be even larger. Contrary to the stereotype that hyenas only scavenge, they are, in fact, as effective hunters as lions. Research from 2010 and updates in 2024 show that from 43 to 95% of their diet. When they hunt in groups, their efficiency increases from 25 to 35% compared to hunting alone. The air grows thick. Only the heart-rending calls of the spotted hyenas remain. The scent of blood rises and curls in the hot air. Suddenly, in the distance, the figures of lionesses appear. One lunges forward, attacking the largest hyena straight on the shoulder. The other hyenas rush forward, baring their teeth and biting at the enemy's legs and tail. The savannah erupts into an inferno of roars, howls, and tearing flesh. Scenes of conflict between these two species are not uncommon on the savannah. They can run up to 37 miles per hour for several miles. Hyenas also know how to exploit the terrain of the Kruger grasslands. Each clan marks its territory with scat and urine near trails. The population of spotted hyenas in Kruger is currently quite stable, estimated at 1,300 to 1,800 individuals. Despite sharing their habitat with lions and other prominent predators, they persist. Like the hyena, scavenging is an essential part of the Kruger ecosystem, and the white-backed vulture is the indispensable cleaner. This vulture, the most common in South Africa, plays a critical role in preventing the spread of disease. With a wingspan of over 6.5 feet and extraordinary vision, it can soar at altitudes of thousands of feet. The spiraling flight at high altitude is the white-backed vulture's unique way of locating carcasses. Although they fly alone, upon finding a kill, they quickly gather in small flocks. Their ability to clean up carcasses is both a survival story of their own and a service to the entire ecosystem. A 2024 report confirmed that thanks to vultures, dozens of cases of disease transmission are prevented. Data also shows that about 100 vultures can strip the carcass of a 100-pound antelope in just 3 minutes. However, the white-backed vulture's path to survival is not simple. According to IUCN data, the population of this species has declined by an average of 4.1% per year. Organizations are implementing rescue programs, monitoring, and community prevention against poisoning. One of the main causes is the poisoning of wildlife to cover up poaching activities. The most serious recent incident occurred in May 2025 in Kruger National Park. They had fed on a poisoned elephant, causing the toxin to spread throughout the group. Organizations are developing rescue programs, monitoring, and community prevention against poisoning. Stretching north from the Kruger grasslands is the Limpopo Olifants Riparian Zone. Rivers like the Limpopo and Olifants provide year-round water and allow for the formation of wetlands. Along these watercourses lies an ecological belt where life concentrates at its highest density. The strip of land between the Limpopo and Olifants rivers is a paradise of vegetation and home to the warthog. This species is mainly active during the day, taking advantage of the early hours of light to forage. Warthogs particularly favor grasslands near rivers, where the soil is firm and the grass is short and easy to graze. A recent study in the Limpopo Olifants Riparian Zone in 2024 recorded a density of about 3 to 5 individuals. At midday, when the sun is at its peak, they return to abandoned burrows to rest. Warthogs often use burrows previously dug by aardvarks and sometimes utilize those of porcupines. They enter the burrow backwards, keeping their tusks facing outwards as a defensive barrier. The warthog is an omnivore, primarily feeding on grass and roots, but when necessary, it supplements its diet. Warthogs live in groups called sounders, consisting of females and their young, forming small communities. When threatened, they raise their tails vertically to alert others and dash straight into their burrows. Meanwhile, on the riverbank appears a colossal creature that combines majesty with memory and emotion, the African bush elephant. The African bush elephant is the largest land animal on the planet. It is neither agile nor swift. But to have survived for thousands of years in the harshness of the environment, the elephant is anything but ordinary. The herd is led by an old and experienced matriarch. A study in 2024 showed that these matriarchs can remember the exact locations of water holes. Furthermore, they lead the herd back on a cycle of 12 to 15 months. With their enormous size but a youthful spirit, elephants often choose the Oliphant's River as their bathtub. They use their trunks to suck up water, spray it on their backs, and roll in the mud. This cools their skin and also protects against parasites and keeps their hides moisturized. The spatial and emotional memory of elephants is astonishing. A project published in the Animal Behavior Journal in 2025 documented that at least 65% of herds This behavior demonstrates a deep affection and an extraordinary social bond. The diet of an elephant is quite varied. They are giant herbivores that consume shrubs, leaves, and bark. This process contributes essentially to the regeneration of low vegetation and ecological balance. During the dry season, when shallow streams disappear, African bush elephants use their tusks and trunks. The trunk is both a sophisticated survival tool and a versatile defensive weapon. The matriarch's memory is not just a recollection, it is a water map. She knows exactly where her ancestors dug for water 50 years ago. And when she finds it, she doesn't just save her family. She becomes the chief engineer, the life bringer for the entire valley. The elephant's ability to communicate is also remarkable. They produce infrasound calls from 14 to 30 Hz that can travel for miles. A 2024 study recorded these infrasound signals being emitted when the herd expressed emotions. Despite standing up to 11 feet tall and weighing around 13,000 pounds, elephants can move quickly. When threatened, the herd often spreads its ears, raises its trunks, and advances slowly. Ultimately, elephants have a powerful impact on the riverside ecological structure. By knocking down bushes and opening paths for sunlight, they create conditions for grasses and seedlings. Meanwhile, beneath the river's surface appears a semi-aquatic giant with extraordinary power and survival instincts, the hippopotamus. The hippopotamus is the second largest semi-aquatic animal in the world. The hippo's roar is not just for show. It's a stereo concert. It produces sound simultaneously through its mouth and its throat. It's a dual message, warning enemies on land and the crocodiles lurking below. Despite their seemingly placid appearance, they are extremely aggressive when they feel threatened. This is one of Africa's most dangerous species, responsible for about 500 human fatalities each year. A hippo can hold its breath for up to 5 minutes and walk or even run along the riverbed. At night, when it's cooler, they come ashore to graze, consuming up to 110 pounds of grass. A 2024 study demonstrated that hippo dung plays a crucial role. They defecate directly in the water and then wag their tails to disperse the waste, promoting growth. Their massive muzzles and mouths contain 2 canines that can grow up to 20 inches long. When threatened, they can open their mouths up to 180 degrees with a bite force of 8,000 to 9,000 newtons. Also lurking in the river, the Nile crocodile, the region's largest, stirs in silence. They are prominent in stretches of the river around Kruger, where the slow-moving current creates ideal conditions. The Nile crocodile lies motionless just below the surface, exposing only its eyes and nostrils, waiting for prey. With a bite of up to 22,000 newtons, one of the strongest in the animal kingdom, when the moment comes, it launches a lightning-fast attack, using its tail for a powerful strike to unbalance its victim. It all ends so quickly that the surface is still rippling while the prey has already vanished into the murky depths. An incredible trait of this species is its ability to endure long periods of fasting. They can slow their metabolism and hold their breath underwater for up to 2 hours. Reproduction is also a fundamental part of their population strategy. Each season, the female builds a sand nest on the bank, where she lays 30 to 60 eggs. Research shows that the Nile crocodile population in the Olifants has faced significant ecological pressure. However, studies in 2024 indicate that in the lower reaches of the river around Kruger, the population remains stable. The Nile crocodile is also considered a keystone species in the Olifants' aquatic ecosystem. Its presence is an indicator that the river system remains healthy, indirectly supporting. From the lowlands of the Limpopo River, South Africa's terrain gradually rises southward. This area extends at an altitude of 4,600 to 5,900 feet, where the climate is cooler. The landscape is characterized by grasslands interspersed with low shrubs, forming an ecological foundation. Under the wide skies of the unveiled grasslands, groups of Springbok, the national animal of South Africa. This antelope is famous for its high leaps and can reach speeds of up to 55 miles per hour. They typically inhabit open grasslands with scattered shrubs, well adapted to the dry and cold climate. In the harsh nature of the unveiled, Springbok are most active at dawn and dusk. They move in herds from a few dozen to hundreds of individuals, protecting each other with their high jumps. A distinctive detail of the Springbok is the dark stripe that runs from its eye to its mouth. The Springbok can survive for long periods without drinking water due to its ability to absorb liquid. The rainy season is also the ideal time for reproduction, although they mate year-round. The gestation period lasts 5 to 6 months, and they usually give birth to a single calf per litter. While the Springbok paints graceful leaps across the plateau, the black wildebeest leaves. They have a dark brown coat, a thick mane on their neck, and forward curving horns. Wildebeest live in large herds, creating rhythmic movements across the savannah. These migrations are for both foraging and maintaining social structure and defense. Their diet consists mainly of low grasses and herbaceous plants. In cold and arid conditions, the black wildebeest can survive for weeks without direct access. According to a 2024 study, the density of black wildebeest in some areas of the Free State Each herd consists of both adults and young, operating in an organized manner with group defense behaviors. Instead of relying solely on speed when threatened, black wildebeest move in a synchronized fashion. The waving white tail is a visual signal that keeps the herd cohesive while running. After the organized defensive display of the black wildebeest herds, the savanna landscape continues to bustle. Both species live in close proximity, forming a natural alliance on the high-veld grasslands. The plain zebra is common in the open savannas and grasslands of South Africa. Cooperation with wildebeest is an effective survival and defense strategy for the zebra. Studies on herd dynamics, published in the Journal of Behavioral Ecology, show this tactic reduces The zebra's diet consists mainly of short grasses and herbs. Each zebra consumes 33 to 44 pounds of dry matter per day, ensuring necessary energy. For individual defense, a zebra can reach speeds of up to 40 miles per hour in short sprints. Their powerful hind legs can deliver kicks with a tremendous force, enough to cause serious injury to a predator. During the dry season, zebra herds follow wildebeest to areas with stable water. If the zebra is an artist of camouflage on the grasslands, the Cape buffalo is like a living shield. One of the big five, this African buffalo is renowned for its strength and combative temperament. The Cape buffalo has an imposing body, thick hide, and a solid pair of arching horns. They live in herds of 10 to several hundred individuals, forming a natural shield against lions. When threatened, the entire herd unites, creating a living barrier with the horned bulls. This behavior has been documented in numerous confrontations in the Kruger and Mala Mala reserves. During the dry season, they move in large groups to maximize collective defense. In those places, Cape buffalo often wallow in mud, a physiological strategy. This habit is key to their adaptation to long, dry summers. The primary diet of the Cape buffalo consists of grass, but when scarce, they switch to young shoots. An adult can consume from 13 to 37 pounds of dry grass per day, providing energy. In the herd structure, females and young form the core, while adult males patrol. Bachelor groups of males can be very aggressive, though they rarely participate in primary defense. When a calf lets out a distress call, the entire herd reacts and moves to protect it. Finally, Cape buffalo undertake internal seasonal migrations in the Highveld. After the thunderous movements of the Cape buffalo herds, the space seems to settle as a slender figure. This snake-hunting bird is known for its elegant gait, almost like that of a model. The secretary bird has a distinctive walk with long legs and an upright body. Specializing in hunting snakes and other small prey, it uses its powerful legs like hammers. It walks at a pace of about 1.5 to 2 miles per hour, with an average of 120 steps per minute. The secretary bird's technique for killing snakes is impressive. Each bird typically holds a territory of about 8 square miles, traversing the low grasslands. Conservation is a pressing issue for the secretary bird. A study by BirdLife South Africa, presented in a 2024 report, warns. From the vast grasslands of the Highveld, South Africa's landscape transforms dramatically. The garden root forest emerges as a green, humid ribbon winding along the coast. This region is characterized by dense forests, where ancient trees tower tens of feet high. The gently rolling hills interspersed with river valleys have created a unique ecosystem. Under the thick fog, the bushbuck hides among the forest foliage. Unlike many herd-dwelling antelopes, the bushbuck chooses a solitary life. When they sense danger, they do not flee immediately, but stand perfectly still. At a distant sign of threat, the bushbuck freezes, lowers its body, and remains motionless. Absolute silence, combined with the ability to move silently through familiar paths, the bushbuck also has agile legs that allow it to navigate through dense thickets. They prefer to live near streams and watercourses, both for food and for a quick escape. Without fangs or long, powerful horns, the bushbuck relies on extreme vigilance. As night falls, the crown of the garden root forest is silently passed to the leopard. With its honey-colored coat adorned with unique rosettes, it is perfectly camouflaged. In a dense forest environment, this ability to remain hidden is its crucial survival advantage. The leopard typically hunts at night or during times of low light. After taking down its prey, it hauls the carcass into high branches, 13 to 16 feet up. Few know that the leopard is also a surprisingly capable swimmer, though not as naturally as a tiger. It is a valuable skill in a coastal ecosystem like the garden root. However, beneath the serene facade of the leopard's solitary life lie fierce conflicts. One of the greatest threats to leopard cubs is infanticide. When a new male takes control of a territory, he often eliminates cubs that are not his own. According to a 2024 study in the Sabi Sand Game Reserve, this behavior accounts for up to 49% of cub mortality. Furthermore, the leopard's reproductive strategy is heavily dependent on natural territory dispersal patterns. Mature males leave their natal territories to avoid inbreeding. However, with the increase in human-caused mortality, this pattern is disrupted. Leopards reproduce year-round with a gestation period of about 90 to 105 days. The mother raises her young cubs in the forest shadows, teaching them how to climb. In an environment full of competition and threats, survival skills are passed from one generation. Despite being solitary, leopards command vast territories from 8 to 15 square miles. In the grand tapestry of creation, each individual fulfills an assigned role. As the dry season drains the last strength from the savannah, the river becomes the ultimate salvation. This placid surface hides another truth, for beneath the calm water, a true lord is watching, not with a crown, but with primal fury. They dominate this riverbank. Anyone who approaches for a drink is considered a provocation by the hippopotamus. Yet, there are still those who underestimate their latent power. Suddenly, a strange figure appears. A lion, the predator of the savannah. But on closer inspection, it is just a young and inexperienced male seeking to quench his thirst. To the hippos, this presence is a declaration of war. With a bite force exceeding 8,100 pounds, a hippo can crush an enemy's skull like a watermelon. Fortunately, hippos are not predators. but any predator that appears in their territory is a nuisance. Many often mistake the hippo's behavior, believing they rescue weaker prey. But the true nature of the hippopotamus is entirely different. For them, the river is not a space to be shared. Every intrusion, whether by predator or prey, is an offense to their supreme authority. As the dry season continues to drain life away, the fragile peace treaty among the hippos also comes to an end. Hippos cannot live without water. Their sensitive skin lacks sweat glands, and their colossal bodies, which can weigh over 4,400 pounds, depend on water for protection and support. When the deepest pools become scarce, space begins to tighten. Amidst this chaos, there is always a dominant male, the master of the shallows. The ritual of asserting dominance begins. This is not a vulgar act, but a display of supremacy and power. When scent warnings are ignored, heavy artillery is deployed. The jaws open to an angle of 150 degrees. What looks like an oversized yawn is, in fact, a mortal threat. In the fight for mating rights, there is no room for mercy. The loser bows his head, allowing the victor to mount his back. A gesture simulating mating, signifying dominance. Meanwhile, some young males, not yet mature enough to challenge, display their strength in terrestrial races. This clumsy giant can reach speeds of up to 20 miles per hour, much faster than one might imagine. In the world of the hippopotamus, there is no lasting peace, only brief moments of silence between battles for survival. Beneath the water, a new hippo life begins after the mother's 8-month gestation. To give birth, the mother needs a quiet space, separate from the pod. The calf is born in the water, weighing between 55 and 110 pounds, and must swim to the surface for its first breath. For about 2 weeks after birth, the mother and calf will live in seclusion. This period helps the calf to imprint, memorizing its mother's scent and call, while staying clear of dangers from the pod and predators. The mother hippo will use her entire body to shield her young. Once the calf is strong enough, they rejoin the community. The entire pod spends most of the day submerged, escaping the heat. But every piece must be fought for. The ideal sunbathing spot has been claimed by a crocodile. And the VIP position is reclaimed with little courtesy. Even when no river is near, hippos have a solution. Natural mud is an alternative. But overcrowding brings other nuisances. Parasites. That is when the little visitors appear, the ox peckers. These birds treat the hippo's broad back as a buffet. In theory, it is a positive symbiotic relationship. But sometimes the oxpeckers become greedy. They peck at open wounds to drink blood, transforming from doctors into tiny vampires. However, the most surprising thing about the hippopotamus is not found on the surface, but at the bottom of the river. Hippos cannot actually swim. Their dense bone structure and immense body weight cause them to sink instantly, unable to float. If they venture into water too deep, where their feet cannot touch the bottom, they can drown. Instead of swimming, they walk underwater. Using the water's buoyancy, they create a near weightless environment. In this way, the hippos perform graceful strides, much like astronauts on the lunar surface. On the surface is the life of a fortunate hippo calf. But on the savannah, nothing is easy. Even when protected by one of the fiercest mothers on the planet, predators are always lurking, searching for any vulnerability. The river, both home and sanctuary, is also the stage for its first drama of survival. As seasonal rains fall, swelling the river, an ancient intelligence begins to stir. The Nile crocodile. It is a predator honed by millions of years, a master of patience. It need not hurry. It only needs to wait. To wait for a moment of distraction, a single lapse from the Great Mother. For the calf, a snatch from below could be the end of a life just begun. But the land holds its own perils. When the pod leaves the relative safety of the water to forage, they enter another kingdom, ruled by the lords of the grassland. A pride of lions. Their strategy is to observe and wait for an opportunity. Their eyes scan the pod, searching for a sign of weakness, of separation. They will wait patiently until the calf, even for a moment, is separated from its mother's protective wall of flesh. In the complex and brutal society of hippos, the dominant male may see this tiny life not as the future of the pod, but as an obstacle to his own lineage. It is a dark evolutionary strategy known as infanticide. By eliminating a rival's offspring, the male can induce the female to return to estrus, ensuring the next generation carries his genes. Faced with such an attack, even the most resilient mother becomes powerless. For this young hippo, life is a relentless struggle, a perilous journey between giants and hidden predators. To survive just one day is, in itself, an extraordinary victory. As the last rays of sun dip below the horizon, night falls upon the river. Gradually, the pod regains its calm, and the sound of their heavy breathing echoes across the water like a victory song. As the echoes of the life and death struggle with the lion's fade, the ground trembles again, but now to a new rhythm. It is not the silent tread of a hunter, but the heavy footfalls of a prehistoric tank, a rhinoceros. Nature has given the rhino a nearly indestructible armor and a lethal keratin horn, but in return has taken its sharp eyesight. The world through a rhino's eyes is one of blurred and menacing shapes. For such a fiercely territorial defender as the hippopotamus, this deviation cannot be ignored. Though unintentional, the rhino has just declared war. The hippo needs no explanation. There are no complex tactics. Merely brute force against brute force. As the ground shimmers in the oppressive heat of the dry season, another grass-eating giant approaches. This time, will the hippopotamus be the one to yield? After all, both need the river. An elephant must consume between 40 and 53 gallons of water each day. This immense biological need forces it to trespass on hippo territory. And when the two biggest egos of the savannah collide in a cramped waterhole, there is no room for compromise. This male hippo is truly courageous. Science calls this an asymmetrical conflict. But the hippo realizes its mistake, and luckily, there is still time to retreat. Hundreds of miles off the African coast, a unique evolutionary laboratory has written its own tales of struggle and survival. Amidst the waters of the Indian Ocean, Madagascar rises as a world apart. Lying some 250 miles off the coast of Mozambique, the world's fourth largest island broke away from the great continents tens of millions of years ago. This geographic isolation has allowed its creatures to evolve along unique paths found nowhere else. The lowland rainforests of eastern Madagascar are home to the Indri, the world's largest lemur, known locally as the babakoto. Some 60 million years ago, their ancestors crossed the ocean on natural rafts of vegetation to reach this island. Isolation saved them from large predators and allowed them to evolve uniquely. The Indri can stand up to 3 feet tall and weigh between 15 and 20 pounds. To the Malagasy people, the Indri is a sacred creature. Traditionally, harming an Indri is fady, an absolute taboo. Their calls can travel for over a mile, used to mark territory and maintain contact with family members. Unfortunately, their habitat is shrinking rapidly. Data from 2023 shows only 1,000 to 2,000 individuals remain in the wild, placing the Indri in the critically endangered category. Hidden beneath the dense foliage of Madagascar's forests, the leaf-tailed gecko is a true master of disguise. Its appearance resembles a sculpture crafted from bark and dried leaves. The intricately patterned skin blurs all body lines. Its flattened tail, like a withered leaf, serves both for camouflage and for balance. As night falls, the leaf-tailed gecko begins its hunt. Large eyes with vertical pupils allow it to see clearly, even in darkness. They play a vital role in controlling insect populations and maintaining biodiversity in the forest ecosystem. In the subhumid forests of Madagascar, the bamboo lemur, also known as the gentle lemur, resides. Their primary food source is bamboo, a plant containing cyanide, a poison to most creatures. The bamboo lemur has evolved a special detoxification mechanism, allowing it to consume large amounts of cyanide without harm. The conservation status of this species is alarming. Many bamboo lemur species are classified as threatened or critically endangered. Among them, the greater bamboo lemur has fewer than 1,000 individuals left in the wild, facing imminent extinction. In western and northern Madagascar, the dry deciduous forests are home to the fossa, the island's apex predator. It is a living symbol of adaptation in an isolated world. Resembling a small cougar, its closest relatives are actually mongooses. The fossa is a unique example of convergent evolution. The dry western forests of Madagascar are the fossa's primary domain. Although it can be found in other areas, this is where its population density is highest. Data from the International Union for Conservation of Nature in 2023 shows fewer than 2,500 mature individuals remain in the wild. With a body up to 30 inches long, a tail of equal length, and weighing up to 20 pounds, the fossa has a perfect anatomical structure for predation. Powerful legs and semi-retractable claws allow it to move with agility, both on the ground and in the trees. A natural-born predator, the fossa combines speed, strength, and climbing skill. It hunts birds, reptiles, and small mammals, especially lemurs, which make up about 50% of its diet. In the dry forests of western Madagascar, the Sifaka lemur has evolved to survive in one of the harshest environments. Amidst aridity and adversity, they have developed remarkable survival strategies. Today, Sifaka lemurs primarily inhabit unique forests like Bemaraha and Kirindi, where limestone formations and vegetation intertwine. According to the IUCN, some species like Deccan's sifaka have fewer than 2,500 mature individuals left in the wild. Their long, powerful hind legs allow them to make leaps of up to 30 feet. They live in small groups of 3 to 10 individuals, usually led by a female. The ecological role of the sifaka is crucial as a seed disperser, contributing to forest regeneration. In the succulent woodlands, Standing's day gecko is a vibrant highlight. Belonging to the Phelsuma genus, this endemic gecko has evolved over millions of years on the isolated island. Its green skin, dotted with red and blue spots, helps it camouflage against baobab trunks in bright light. When threatened, it can shed its tail to distract predators, and the tail will regenerate after a few months. In this ecosystem, Standing's day gecko is an essential part. In the arid lands of the south and southwest, the ring-tailed lemur stands out as a symbol of survival. Adapted to scrub forests and savannas, they face year-round shortages of water and food. It is estimated that by 2024, only about 2,000 to 2,400 individuals remain in the wild. Its long tail, with alternating black and white stripes, not only aids in balance, but also serves as a visual signal for communication. Ring-tailed lemurs live in matriarchal social groups led by females. They play a vital ecological role by dispersing seeds through their feces, helping to maintain the vegetation of the dry forests. The mangrove forests of Madagascar form a precious coastal ecosystem, stretching over 620 miles along the western coast. The combination of brackish water and sediment-rich soil provides a haven for plants like mangroves and Avicennia. The intertwined roots protect the coastline from erosion while providing habitat for fish, crustaceans, and wild birds. Along the Betsiboka estuary, green sea turtles often appear on the sandbanks and in the mangroves to rest and feed. With over 150 million years of evolutionary history, this species is a prime example of perfect adaptation to the ocean. The mangrove ecosystem offers safe refuge from predators and an abundant food source. Green sea turtles are known for their long migrations. They travel thousands of miles to return to their birthplace to lay eggs. However, the survival rate of hatchlings is extremely low. Less than 1% make it to the ocean. Currently, the conservation status of this species is worrying due to mangrove loss, pollution, and hunting. Madagascar's mangroves are also home to another ancient species. The hawksbill sea turtle. With over 100 million years of evolution, this turtle has survived countless changes. Its curved, sharp beak is a specialized tool for scraping food like sea anemones and sponges from rock surfaces. Despite its high adaptability, its numbers are declining sharply. The IUCN has classified the hawksbill as critically endangered. The dugong, or Pacific sea cow, carries an evolutionary history of over 50 million years. From terrestrial ancestors, it has fully adapted to a marine environment. In Madagascar, they are concentrated in the western mangroves, where saltwater and freshwater meet. Its fusiform body is perfect for navigating narrow, sediment-rich waters. Their diet is based on seagrass, consuming up to 88 pounds per day. Currently, their population on the island has dwindled to just a few hundred individuals. The main threats include mangrove loss, pollution, and overfishing. Madagascar, the red island in the Indian Ocean, is a symbol of nature's enduring vitality. Although over 90% of its primary forest is gone, some 8 million acres are still protected. In the past 3 years, over 5 million native trees have been planted, alongside programs for turtle re-release, wildlife trade control, and mangrove restoration. Ecotourism provides livelihoods for local communities. But Madagascar needs the world's help to preserve its lemurs, baobabs, and unique ecosystem for the future.